Ladies and gentlemen, your brain is like a muscle. And just like every other muscle in your body, if it's not used, it weakens. Growth doesn't happen by chance. It develops through deliberate practice, repetition, and consistent effort. The truth is, the difference between someone who remains stuck and someone who progresses often comes down to one thing: whether they exercise their mind every single day. Now, understand this clearly. You don't need to return to school, earn a special degree, or wait for approval from anyone. What you need is discipline and consistency. You need a mindset that says, each day I will become slightly smarter than I was yesterday. When you treat your mind as something you are directly responsible for strengthening, everything shifts. Most people begin their mornings by picking up their phones and scrolling. They consume low-quality content, random news, shallow opinions, endless distractions, and soon, their thinking starts to resemble exactly that: cluttered, negative, and reactive. Successful individuals handle mornings differently. They see them as valuable space. They feed their minds with substance. They read, listen, write, and do so every single day. Not only when they feel motivated. Here is what often goes unsaid. Every time you read a book, listen to a podcast that teaches something new, or challenge your own assumptions, you are building mental strength. You are reinforcing neural connections, reshaping your brain to be sharper, more focused, and more capable. This isn't motivational talk, it's neuroscience. Your brain adapts according to what you repeatedly do. If you want improvement, you must train accordingly. And about confidence, confidence does not come from repeating lines in the mirror, it comes from proof. When you study and learn daily, the evidence builds. You know you're making progress. You see why continuous self-education matters. You notice it in the way you speak, think, and solve problems. That is how real confidence grows: through action, through showing yourself again and again that you are committed to learning. And excuses about lacking time don't hold up. You do have time, you just don't always prioritize it. 10 minutes a day makes a difference. You can listen to a podcast on your commute, read a few pages before sleeping, or spend a quarter of an hour on a TED Talk instead of another show. You can do it, but only if you choose to. In the end, it comes down to a decision. No one else is going to do it for you. No one is going to appear and say, now it's time to grow, now it's time to become the version of yourself you've always envisioned. That moment doesn't happen unless you create it, and it begins with a simple choice: I will educate myself today. Here's the truth. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You just need to be the one who never stops learning, the one who keeps showing up, the one who says, I'm not finished yet. When you do that consistently, day after day, month after month, your brain becomes a tool, a resource, a force. You begin to notice patterns others miss, connect ideas faster, and solve problems with greater creativity. And the best part is this: you start to enjoy learning, not because someone tells you to, but because you see how capable, focused, and energized it makes you feel. So here's the challenge starting today: treat your mind like a muscle. Give it exercise, feed it with value, and push it to stretch, question, and grow. If you commit to that, if you educate yourself daily, success no longer feels like a distant dream. It becomes a natural outcome of the person you are becoming. Because this isn't only about reaching success, it's about becoming the kind of person prepared to handle it when it arrives. Educate yourself daily. That is the secret, and now you know it. Knowledge is powerful, but only when used. It's easy to believe that information alone creates success. People spend hours reading books, watching videos, or listening to podcasts. But here's the reality: if you don't apply what you learn, it has no impact. Information without action is just noise. It's like collecting all the ingredients for a meal but never cooking. It doesn't matter how many recipes you read or shows you watch. If you never step into the kitchen, you'll never taste the result. The real power comes when learning moves into action. You can study a subject for hours, even days, but the value lies in how you apply that knowledge. Learning doesn't end with information. It becomes meaningful only when put into practice. For example, if you read a book on time management, finishing it isn't enough. You need to use the strategies, organize your day, set priorities, and adjust when plans change. Knowledge without action is a missed opportunity. And let's be clear, there is no shortage of information today. It's everywhere, online, in podcasts, books, courses, seminars, and more. The issue isn't access. The issue is that many people collect information, but never move forward. They accumulate knowledge, but don't apply it. Many people believe that by simply absorbing knowledge, they are making progress, but that's an illusion. Without action, learning becomes nothing more than entertainment and mental clutter. You need to filter the information you take in and ask, what can I do with this? How can I apply it in my life right now? Take a simple example. Imagine you read a book on healthy living that emphasizes better nutrition and regular exercise. If all you do is finish the book and think, that was interesting, you've missed the point. But if you decide to add more vegetables to your meals or commit to walking 20 minutes a day, then the information becomes powerful. It turns from passive knowledge into a practical tool for improving your life. Of course, taking action is not always easy. It can be uncomfortable and demanding, but that's exactly why it matters. If everything you learn feels simple and never pushes you out of your comfort zone, then it's not the kind of knowledge that will move you forward. Real transformation happens when knowledge is tested in the real world, where it can be adjusted and strengthened. Consider highly successful people. They don't spend their time merely collecting information. They use it consistently. They don't just read about leadership. They lead. They don't just talk about success. They pursue it. Information may lay the foundation, but action is what builds the structure. They understand that knowledge without results has no value. So what does this mean for you? It means every piece of information you consume should be followed by action. Don't read just for the sake of reading. Don't listen to a podcast just to fill time. Ask yourself, what can I take from this? And how can I use it right now? It might be a new productivity method, a relationship strategy, or a mindset shift for handling challenges. Whatever it is, apply it. If you read a book on business strategies, don't stop at admiring the idea. Implement them. Test, measure, and refine. Because the truth is this: learning without action becomes procrastination. It feels safe and comfortable, but it leads nowhere. Here's the reality: you can consume endless information, but if you never use it to move forward, nothing changes. Don't allow knowledge to become your comfort zone. Use it as a stepping stone toward action. Start small. Choose one thing you learned today and apply it tomorrow. The more consistently you do this, the more you'll see that information is the most powerful tool you can hold, but only if you are willing to act on it. And when you commit to applying what you learn, you will see results in your life, your work, and your success. In today's world, formal education is heavily emphasized. From a young age, many are told that the path to success lies in earning the right degree, securing the right job, and climbing the corporate ladder. But the reality is this: formal education is not the only route to lasting achievement. For many, the real difference comes from self-education. You do not need a degree to succeed. You don't need permission to learn, to grow, or to create the life you want. The tools you need are already available: your drive, your curiosity, and your willingness to take consistent action. Self-education changes the game. The most accomplished individuals, across every field, didn't wait for a classroom or instructor to guide them. They took responsibility for their own growth, committed to improving, and pushed forward even in difficult times. They recognized that success isn't about waiting for the perfect opportunity. It's about building knowledge and skills step by step. One of the greatest strengths of self-education is flexibility. You can learn what you need. You aren't confined to a curriculum designed for the average student. Instead, you are free to explore any subject, pursue any passion, and develop any skill that helps you advance. Whether it's business, health, technology, or psychology, Resources are everywhere. Online, in books, through mentorships, or in practical experiences. You don't have to wait for someone else to direct your learning. You are in control, and that means you choose exactly what will move you forward. Think about how many successful people built extraordinary lives without following traditional educational paths. Their achievements didn't come from avoiding learning. It was the opposite. They understood the value of continuous, self-directed education. They stayed curious, kept searching for knowledge, and applied what they learned directly to their goals. They didn't wait for permission to begin. They acted and acquired the tools necessary to bring their vision to life. When you take control of your education, you're not just collecting information, you're learning how to think, you're developing problem-solving abilities, critical thinking, and adaptability. These are the qualities that matter most in today's fast-changing world. The world is changing quickly, and the skills needed to succeed are evolving just as fast. A formal education may provide knowledge that is useful in the present, but it is self-education that keeps you adaptable, innovative, and prepared for what comes next. Another strength of self-education is learning directly from your own experiences. While formal schooling teaches theories and concepts, real-world learning shows you how to apply those ideas and adapt them to your unique circumstance. It involves trial and error, making mistakes and learning from them. When you take ownership of your learning, you don't just memorize facts, you internalize them, apply them, and make them your own. This gives you an advantage in any environment, whether in a traditional career or building your own business. The ability to self-educate keeps you ahead of the curve. You're not waiting for someone else to provide all the answers. You're actively seeking the knowledge that makes you stronger. This puts you in a position of influence, because you can evolve faster than those relying on outdated ways of thinking. You can pivot, innovate, and adapt more quickly than someone locked into a fixed path. And the best part is, you don't have to do it alone. Self-education is not about isolation or figuring out everything by yourself. It's about finding mentors, connecting with people who hold the knowledge you need, and learning from their experience. Surrounding yourself with individuals who challenge you and expand your thinking is just as important as the material you study. Mentorship, whether formal or informal, accelerates your growth by offering new perspectives, questioning your assumptions, and broadening your mindset. The power of self-education lies in its flexibility. There is no single path to success and no universal way to learn. You choose the pace, the resources, and the strategies that fit you best. You can follow your curiosity in any direction and grow in ways that align with your personal goals. Formal education can provide a foundation, but it is self-education that allows you to build something remarkable on top of it. So take control of your learning. Don't wait for someone else to provide the answers. Seek out knowledge, learn from others, and most importantly, take action. Because when you educate yourself, you empower yourself, and that is the real key to lasting success. And remember this: success rarely comes from one dramatic breakthrough. It is not built through a single massive effort that changes everything overnight. Success is created gradually, through steady, consistent actions, small steps taken every day that compound over time. Much like a long-term investment, success is built through compounding. It's the small, steady improvements you make each day that accumulate into significant results over time. Think of it this way. Imagine you commit to reading just 10 pages of a book each day. At first, 10 pages may feel like a small, almost unimportant effort, but over the course of a year that adds up to about 3,650 pages, the equivalent of several books on subjects that expand your knowledge, sharpen your skills, and support your growth. Those books provide new tools, strategies, and perspectives that you can apply to create meaningful change in your life. But the real power of compounding doesn't lie only in the amount of information you gather. It shows up in how that knowledge shapes your thinking and your behavior over time. The more you read, the more you begin to absorb useful concepts and apply the methods that successful people practice. You start thinking differently, making stronger decisions, and noticing opportunities you once overlooked. The same principle applies to building any skill. Suppose you want to improve your fitness. You might start with just 15 minutes of exercise each day. At first, it may not feel like a major effort, but after a few months, those sessions add up. You begin to notice more energy, greater strength, and better health. As results appear, your motivation increases, and that commitment becomes easier to sustain. Over time, a short daily habit turns into a lasting lifestyle shift. It's no longer only about exercise, it's about becoming a stronger, more disciplined version of yourself. This is the advantage of compounding growth. It makes consistency easier. You don't need perfection, and you don't need to commit everything at once. You only need to show up daily, do a little bit, and trust that results will follow. Success is rarely about one giant leap. It's about consistent steps that build on one another. Consider another example: learning a new language. You might begin with just a few words each day. It's a small investment of time, but as your vocabulary grows and your grammar improves, you start to see real progress. Eventually, you can hold conversations, understand more, and even begin to think in the language. And one day, you realize you've become fluent. That transformation doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't come from a single intense effort. It happens because you stayed committed to learning a little every day and allowed those small actions to compound into something extraordinary. The best part of the compounding effect is that it doesn't depend on constant motivation. It's easy to feel energized on Monday and lose momentum by midweek. But when you focus on consistency, motivation is no longer the deciding factor. You simply show up, do the work, and build habits that become part of your life. Over time, those habits bring results that feel effortless, though they were created through steady, intentional action. Now you might be thinking, I want results now, I don't want to wait. The truth is, results take time. But when you understand the principle of compounding and stay committed to consistent action, progress comes faster than you expect. The mistake many people make is quitting too soon. They look for instant success, lose patience, and give up right before they reach the tipping point. Success isn't about one big action that changes everything overnight. It's about showing up every day, doing the small things, and trusting the process. With time, those small actions add up and create major results. The more you practice consistency, the more you recognize how much control you truly have. You don't need permission, the perfect moment, or a sign to begin. What you need is commitment to the daily process. When you do that, success begins to feel natural. Remember, it's the small daily actions that compound into big outcomes. It's the 10 pages you read, the 15 minutes you exercise, the lessons you practice, and the small improvements you make each day that carry you forward. Keep showing up, keep putting in the effort, and trust that over time, those efforts will grow into something remarkable. Your mindset is one of the most powerful tools you possess. It shapes your reality, influences your choices, and determines your result. The way you think, the meaning you give to situations, and the beliefs you hold about yourself all form your mindset. And here's what matters. Mindset is not fixed. It's not something you are born with and stuck with forever. It can be shaped, strengthened, and improved with intention. The key to success, growth, and resilience lies in actively developing a positive, growth-oriented mindset. The first step is realizing that your mindset reflects what you feed. You are constantly feeding your mind through what you read, watch, listen to, and even through the conversations you engage in. News cycles, social media, and negative relationships all have an impact. If you consistently feed your mind negativity, fear, and doubt, it becomes fertile ground for limiting beliefs. But when you choose to feed it with empowering ideas, knowledge, and uplifting influences, you begin building a mindset that supports growth and long-term success. You may start believing you're not good enough, not capable enough, or that success is out of reach. The more you feed your mind negativity, the more those thoughts take root. But here's the encouraging part. You have control over what you allow. You can choose to surround yourself with positivity. You can choose to fill your mind with empowering ideas, stories of achievement, and lessons from those who overcame obstacles. The more you absorb uplifting content, the more it will shape your actions and your life. It's a simple but powerful principle. What you feed your mind is what you become. Mindset, however, isn't only about what you consume. It's also about how you interpret and respond to challenges. Life is full of setbacks, failures, and difficult moments. Everyone encounters obstacles, but success is defined by how you respond to them. A growth-oriented mindset views challenges as opportunities to learn and improve. When faced with setbacks, those with this mindset don't give up or dwell on failure. Instead, they ask, "What can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger?" In contrast, a fixed mindset, one that sees abilities as unchangeable, can lead people to avoid challenges out of fear. They view failure as proof of inadequacy rather than a chance to grow. But the truth is, failure is an essential part of success. It teaches us what works and what doesn't, builds resilience and strengthens determination. This is why developing a growth mindset is so valuable. By seeing challenges as opportunities, you approach life with curiosity and openness instead of fear and resistance. With this mindset, you become more willing to take risks, try new approaches, and move beyond your comfort zone. The more you stretch yourself, the more you grow, and with growth comes confidence. True self-belief develops when you prove to yourself, through consistent action, that you can handle whatever life presents. Mindset also shapes how you view yourself and your potential. Do you believe you can improve, achieve your goals, and deserve success? Or do you hold on to limiting beliefs that tell you you're not enough, not skilled enough, or not talented enough? The truth is, no one begins with all the answers. Success is not about being perfect from the start. It's about being willing to learn, adapt, and evolve along the way. It's about trusting your ability to figure things out, even when situations become difficult. That is where self-belief comes in. The more you feed your mind with positive affirmations and surround yourself with supportive people, the stronger that belief becomes. When you trust yourself, you take bolder actions, accept risks, and make choices aligned with your goals. Even when things don't go as planned, you keep moving forward because you know you have the ability to adapt. Your mindset also shapes how you approach goals. If you view them as distant or unattainable, you'll remain stuck. But if you break them into smaller, achievable steps and focus on daily progress, your mindset shifts. You begin to see that success is not a faraway dream. It is built one step at a time. This change in perspective keeps you focused, consistent, and steady even when challenges arise. The truth is, your mindset is the foundation of everything. It acts as the lens through which you see the world and influences every choice you make. If you want to change your life, you must begin by changing your mindset. That means being intentional about what you allow into your mind and how you respond to setbacks. It requires believing in yourself even when others doubt you, and most importantly, working on your mindset daily. The stronger it becomes, the more capable you are of achieving anything you set your sights on. Habits are another powerful factor in creating success. Achievement is never accidental. It doesn't depend on perfect timing or waiting for conditions to align. It depends on small, consistent actions repeated every day. When habits are aligned with your goals, they build momentum. They become the driving force that helps you overcome limits and create the success you envision. In reality, your life is shaped by your habits. Consider your daily routine, how you spend your mornings, how you use your time throughout the day, and how you close your evenings. These repeated actions shape your present, and your present shapes your future. If you are not satisfied with where you are, the solution is not to change everything at once, but to adjust the habits that are producing your current results. To change your life, you must change your habits. Still, creating new habits is not easy. It requires breaking patterns you may have repeated for years. Old habits feel comfortable and familiar. They often feel like part of your identity. This is why forming new ones takes effort, intention, and persistence. But it is also why the payoff is so powerful. When you try to introduce new habits, they often feel awkward, uncomfortable, or forced. That is normal. The key is patience and the understanding that change requires time. It takes persistence, consistency, and the willingness to accept discomfort as part of growth. The best way to begin building supportive habits is to start small. Avoid trying to transform your entire life at once. It is tempting to set big goals such as exercising daily, waking up at 5 a.m., or finishing a book every week. But these major changes can feel overwhelming. Instead, focus on small, manageable actions that build into larger habits. You might begin with 10 minutes of exercise a day, or reading just one page at night. What matters most is starting in a way that is sustainable. Each small commitment, once kept, builds momentum, and momentum makes further progress easier. Another effective strategy is tracking your progress. When you record your habits, you create a clear reminder of your effort. This can be highly motivating. For instance, if you aim to journal every morning, you could track your progress on a calendar or use an app to monitor your streak. Every checkmark represents a small win, and over time, those wins accumulate. Tracking does more than show how far you've come. It reinforces accountability and strengthens the idea that consistency leads to results. Habits are powerful because they reduce reliance on willpower. Willpower is limited and tends to run out during the day. Habits once formed, remove that strain by making actions automatic. For example, if you develop the habit of drinking a glass of water upon waking, you no longer depend on willpower to remember. It becomes part of your routine. This is the strength of habits. They conserve mental energy and make it easier to stay aligned with your goals without exhaustion. The important part is to design habits that support your goals. If your goal is to improve as a writer, daily writing time, even 10 minutes, becomes essential. If your goal is to grow a business, your habits may include daily time spent on networking, industry research, or refining strategy. Your habits must directly connect to the outcome you want. Otherwise, they cannot move you toward it. It is important to remember that slipping up is normal. Habits take time to build, and there will be days when you miss. You might skip a workout, forget to meditate, or eat something unhealthy. These moments do not erase your progress. The key is to return to your routine quickly. One mistake does not undo the effort you have already put in. Success is not about perfection, it is about consistency. It comes from getting up, refocusing, and continuing forward. As you build better habits, your mindset shifts as well. Consistent progress, even if small, strengthens your belief in your ability to achieve greater goals. With it comes confidence, and that confidence becomes a strong driver of future success. This momentum helps you move forward and overcome the inevitable obstacles along the way. Remember, your future is not determined by a single event or decision. It is shaped by the consistent habits you practice each day. That is why it is important to build habits that align with your goals. Start small, track your progress, and remain committed. Success is not a final destination, it is the outcome of daily actions and steady commitment. By shaping your habits to serve your goals, you create the future you want. The journey to success is never straightforward. It includes challenges, setbacks, and unexpected turns. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is not the absence of obstacles, but the ability to continue moving forward. Resilience is what sets them apart. It is not about avoiding failure or staying comfortable. It is about building the mental strength to keep going when difficulties arise. Resilience, like any skill, can be developed. It means learning to recover from disappointments, adapt to change, and stay focused on your goals, even when circumstances seem against you. The key to resilience is recognizing that setbacks are part of growth. They do not define you, they refine you. Each challenge carries lessons that success alone cannot provide. Every obstacle is an opportunity to grow, learn, and strengthen yourself. When you encounter a roadblock, your response will depend on your mindset. You can treat it as proof you are not capable, or you can see it as a temporary challenge to overcome. Resilient people know that failure is not permanent, it is only a moment in time. The key is to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. Focus on what you can control and release what you cannot. Resilient people break challenges into manageable steps and work through them one at a time. It is easy to feel discouraged when plans fail, but by viewing failure as an opportunity, you begin to see setbacks differently. Instead of feeling defeated, you ask, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? What is the next step? This change in perspective is one of the most valuable tools you can build. Obstacles stop being roadblocks and become learning experiences that strengthen resilience. A key part of this is perseverance, showing up consistently, even when motivation is low. There will be days of exhaustion, frustration, and doubt, but those are the days that matter most. True progress happens when you continue despite discomfort, uncertainty, or unfavorable odds. Resilience also requires adaptability. Life rarely follows a perfect plan, and unexpected changes are common. The most resilient individuals are those who can adjust their strategies, remain steady during uncertainty, and keep their goals in sight. Flexibility does not mean giving up. It means adapting and evolving to meet circumstances while staying committed to your vision. Another essential aspect of resilience is self-compassion. Many people are their own harshest critics, which makes setbacks harder to overcome. Instead of focusing on mistakes, recognize your progress, celebrate small wins, and acknowledge your effort. Self-compassion supports a positive mindset, which fuels resilience. Treating yourself with patience and understanding makes it easier to stay motivated and keep moving forward. Finally, resilience is strengthened by having a support system. You do not need to face challenges on your own.